Hey everyone, it's Desiree and I am here with Scrappy Tails and I am going to create a slimline card. I'm actually going to go a little bit bigger than what I normally do. I usually go 3.5 by 8.5, but I think I'm actually going to go 4 by 9, take her right out to that full size. And you can see all the dies that I have here. So I'm going to be using this wood grain texture die. I'm going to use this outline for the house and that roof top there. I'm going to use this door, this window set. I'm going to pull this in to actually create a step from the door. And I'm also going to use this window for the very top. We're going to add some Christmas lights because it is going to have a Christmas theme. And I'm going to use this strand here along with some snow because we can always have snow. And I'm going to pull in the wreaths, the bows, the wraparound for the door, just to give it a Christmas feel. So we've got lots of die cutting, and as always, I have taken care of that off camera. And we've got lots and lots of pieces to put together. So grab your favorite beverage, and oh yeah, get ready because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of gabbing in this one. Absolutely. But we all love die cutting for the most part. And to me, remember, they're like a puzzle that you are creating. So let's get started. Always remember, let's enjoy. And I'm sure there's going to be some fun moments throughout this. All right, let's get started. Okay, so as always, all the die cutting is done. Some things, you know, you only need to die cut each item once. There are some items like the roof here, the snow cap on the roof, some of the door inserts and so forth. I did die cut twice. That's just going to give a little bit more dimension when it comes to that, but you don't have to do this. So again, pulling from all of these pieces, that's what's great with die cutting, at least for me. It's like a big puzzle. And this is certainly a big puzzle. But again, it's relaxing. Once you get through that die cutting and start putting your piece together, you really don't know which way you're going to go. So when it came to the string of lights, I added some silver glitter cardstock, and that I forget who made that cardstock. It was just a scrap piece from my stash, and it's got like an iridescent, like a mirror type glitter. So it's got all of these different colors when you turn that. So when I cut that main piece, I'm going to go over with the smaller parts because she has that in the die as well. So you could make them different colors. You can make them any color that you want, which is great. And then you could also go over with glossy accents with these to give them a shimmer. I figured by the time I was done putting this together, no, had enough. So when it comes to the windows, using 3 different style of windows, 2 of the 6 panel and then the 1/2 circle for the top in the arch. I'm using 2 to glue them together to give them a little bit more strength. With something that I was going to do in the background of them. Now you could put a piece of vellum, and what you could do is if you have an alcohol marker or if you have an ink pad, you could just brush over that vellum to give it a yellow hue to make it look like a light is shining through. I'm going to do something just a little bit different. What I did for each of these windows is I have the solid panel. So I have the cutout, and then I cut a shape for the back of each of these, and you'll see what I'll do when I get to that. So when it comes to the door, I'm actually double layering the cutouts from that door. That door can swing open. I am not going to have that door swing open. I'm going to keep it shut when it comes to this. So I've also cut a panel for the back of this door as well. Again, doing something a little bit different. So I'm taking that door, I'm placing it on my panel, and I'm going to cut around it so I can have that backing. With the cutouts that I have in there, I want them to come up. I want them to come off of that. So I'm going to use some double-sided foam tape to put behind those. But first, I'm going to come in with a warm alcohol marker, and I'm going to go around each of those. It's just going to add a little bit of shading around the outside. I'm not coloring the whole piece. I'm just coming in onto the edges. So I use the warm. Now, if you have a neutral color, you can use that one as well. You can use a cool. I just went with a warm color because the cardstock that I'm coloring on is ivory. So that's got a warm tone to that. Again, continuing to go around, and then some of these, when they cut out, they have like a little tiny score line in them, or a little tiny embossed line. I'm going to go down through that as well. I'm not going to come in with my clear blender to blend that out. I like it just the way that it is. I'm putting down my double-sided foam tape in each of these sections, and I'm going to use a pair of tweezers to put these pieces in place. First, I'll remove the backing papers, and then I will just set these. And you can see that those, you know, when you sometimes look at a wood door, you can see they have those cutouts or those embossed areas, little tiny frames. And that was the look that I was going for with this. Yes, the vintage photo's coming in on this one. Absolutely. And again, the reason why I use the vintage photo is not because, well, mainly because I love it, but really because it does give that dimension. It helps to pull that piece out. You could have used a gray. You could use any color that you want. I just choose to go with the vintage photo because it does go with every color in the spectrum. That's the purpose of it. That die also comes with little tiny door handles. So we got those in there as well. Tweezers are your friends when you're doing die cutting like this. So yeah, it's very handy to have reverse tweezers. And everybody has them. Spellbinders has them. Pink and Main now has them. All the companies do. Now the difference with Spellbinders is they are pointed. They're not curved, which I like because then I can wrap things around it. So I have that wood grain panel. Now what's great with her panels, whether it's the brick or the wood, and I just went blank with the other one, is they can cut out. They are cutting into that cardstock. So you can have the best of both worlds when it comes to that. To strengthen the background of the home, I chose the wood. I just added some tape just to keep those pieces together. I'm coming in using the gorgeous prize ribbon. I'm working on my background panel here. I'm only worried about the edges. I'm not worried about where my hand is right now because that's going to be covered by the house. I'm now coming in with Wilted Violet. For a night sky, yes, I do add very odd colors. I add the purples. I add black to really deepen those colors up. And that's the beauty with the oxides because they layer and they will combine at the same time. So here I am coming in with the black soot. You can still see the purple underneath that, which gives those different hues. It is now time for the blizzard. Just saying. I love splattering. I absolutely love it. And I love using my P.H. Martin's non-bleed white watercolor. It will not react with the oxides. If I use a white gesso or a white ink, it will pick up that color and they will turn to that color. So I won't have that bright white vibrancy. So P.H. Martin's is my go-to. It is wonderful. So now we're going to build the house. So putting on the roof. So now everything's just going to come together. And behind that house, I have that hue, that highlight coming in from the background. And I believe I do add a little bit more just to pull it in so it's not so white. I'm going around the edges of my windows with the vintage photo, with the rooftop, with it as well. I took that green string of lights and I intertwined it on the roof cap, on the snow cap for the roof. I just thought it looked neat. It gave it just a little bit of texture, a little bit of dimension with the snow and everything else. And then I'm just making sure that is set in place. You can see I just have that white spot coming off of the roofs, which is perfect. It kind of creates that halo. This is now going to get set down. Now, I didn't bring this all the way down to the bottom because I was going to use this gray piece that I thought would have looked great for a step, or, you know, like a step going up into the front of the home. I changed my mind. It just didn't look right. And plus, I didn't think I was going to have room. So the beauty of it, even though that's lifted up, so I do have the roof that's coming up off the top. To me, that's not a problem. You can trim it, or you can just let it there. I'm placing down the background pieces, or those back panels to the windows, and I've set the door in place, and I've added the bows to the front of the door. I'm now going to set the half circle up in the archway of the roof, and now I'm going to work on the pots. I cut the pots in a gray, and I'm going to come in with the black soot that's left on my blending brush. These are my makeup brushes, and just adding shading on each side of those. I did double these up, and I'm now going to place these on each side of the door. Again, perfectly covering that gap that I left there when I glued it down. I'm now adding the little tiny, we can call these topiaries, we can make them Christmas trees, we can have all kinds of fun with it. I'm just adding those, and because I raised the pots, they're able to sit down in there. I'm going to come in with a very fine detailed brush, and I'm just going to add dashes and dots and squiggles and just bleh going across that. It's a technical term, bleh. Just adding some highlights to the tree to make it look like, and they're really not highlights, it's snow. Because, yes, because you can see that blizzard in the back, you can still see those dots. It does not react. I know the camera's not really picking it up, but they really, if there is a reaction, it's a lot less than by using gesso or white acrylic paint or anything like that. Now, I tried to come in with another smaller type of makeup brush with some white. It really didn't work. It was a little bit softer. And of course, here's where I realized I needed to put the garland around the door. And that's why I made my fists. So I'm going to get that set. And again, was able to pull those up. I pulled the paper underneath with those foam squares. That's okay. We're going to be covering it up. It's okay to do that. And even if I pulled it up completely, again, it would be okay. We're covering it. No one, if anybody gives you a card and they start looking underneath, you should like smack their hands. And then make a note. So now we're going to put everything back in place. I've got the garland going around the tree. And then I'm just putting glue on those double-sided foam squares just to let those, you know, stick again. I'm going to do the same thing with the garland that's going around the trees or the door. Good Lord. And again, it's nothing, just adding splatters and blips and blah. Yeah, there's that technical term again. Again, it just helps to pull that out so that snow is falling all over. Because again, the blizzard's going to come in again. There's going to be another blizzard. So what I have here, I'm going to focus on the windows now. So what I have here is avocado dyed paper. Now, what's really weird, you're thinking avocado, Des, they're green. Yes, they are. But when you take those skins and boil them, it makes your paper pink. It's really cool. I do not do this. Yes, I do not. So I took a piece of that, folded it up differently, and put that behind the window. So it looks like it's a curtain. Now, you could really get into some, you know, fancy folds and, you know, make it look like, you know, and put some, yeah, I just put it across the window. Again, just to give that texture. I love the coffee dyed papers because you have such differences when it comes to what was dyed. Some areas are light, some areas are dark. The edges are usually dark. For me, they're dark because I keep it in the oven. And, you know, sometimes I start. Yeah. So it's a process. So just by putting that, excuse me, and I really think the color matched. I'm using earth tones throughout the house. The house is brown. I'm using ivories. I'm pulling in that vintage photo. Even though my sky is that bright, beautiful blue, everything is just going together. So I think if I went with something a little bit brighter, it might have just kind of offset things. When it comes to the half circle, I actually did like a rosette. I kind of fanned it so that it would be round, so that I could get that into the circle. So it would just have a little bit of movement to it. Adding these most adorable wreaths. I mean, the details in this die set are just absolutely gorgeous. You are not limited. You don't have to use all of these colors. This die set would absolutely be beautiful in a single color with gold or silver accents. It's just so versatile. Absolutely versatile. Now, I'm going to pull this out. If I am not mistaken, this card is 4 by 9. All right, so if I'm going to put this in the envelopes, I usually use, I believe they're size 10 envelopes for my slim lines. I may have to cut the top of that roof off, but maybe not. Here's the blizzard. Because you can't have enough. I just love the blizzard look. Some people don't like as much splatter. Don't put as much. Again, do you. Do what you want to do. But take these techniques into what you do. You don't have to do exactly what I do or any other YouTuber. We are here to help you create, to give you ideas when it comes to this. That is the purpose of what we do here. And I didn't mean to speak for people, but for me, that's my purpose for this. So since I didn't want all that work, I will not cover it up with a sentiment. So we will stamp on the inside, "Oh Holy Night," and I am using the Altenew Antique Silver. Their antique silver and their antique gold embossing powder is absolutely gorgeous. Yes, guys, if you haven't figured out, I am all about the vintage. Ask Sabrina. Again, she has done a wonderful job with this die. I can't get enough of the collection that she has released here. So there are so many others. I encourage you, please go to her blog, and you will be able to meet the rest of the design team. I encourage you to check them out and their creations. They are absolutely phenomenal. But as always, all the products that I used will be listed down below. And if you have any questions, please leave those down below and I will make sure I answer your questions. If you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe. Be part of my group here. Make sure you hit the thumbs up so I know that you enjoyed this video. And by all means, ring the bell because you may get notified by YouTube. And don't forget, I do have a Patreon account where we do things just a little bit differently when it comes to the paper crafting world, where you have exclusive content, downloads, and everything else. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to stop by. Just need to take a moment to say thank you and to show my appreciation through words, and to let you know I am grateful that you stopped by, took the time to watch this video. Whether you're a subscriber or not, I do appreciate each and every one of you. So thank you. But remember, we do it each and every day. But always remember, be creative. Take care, everyone. Till the next video.